emotionally, thinking that I was going to be being recorded in, on this little phone. It was just like I had to get out of my head because it was no different than being in front of a classroom with kids. You didn't see the children, but I was doing what I love in a platform that I'm very comfortable with. So once it went live, it was fun. It was just a little bit of fear because the technology wanted to make sure that it worked, and just your eye contact with the had to practice once because I had a tendency to be looking up, and I wanted to make sure that it was right where it needed to be. But it was totally fun, and when it was over, I was like, wow, that was really fun.
So Alan, tell him, give him an idea of what you did. So JLV has been doing at 10 o'clock every day on the J Kid Philly Facebook page, Facebook Live. So it's not really interactive unless people happen to be making comments or things like that along the way. So Ellen has done her first one, Lisa Littman's done lots of them, and Gabby has done some as well. So Ellen, give them a feel for what you decided to do and how long it was.
So we've been trying to run between like 7 and 12 minutes or so. Mine was about 12 minutes. And I wanted to do something that the kids could do after they shut the Facebook Live off. So I did a Jewish detective, kind of a scavenger hunt. And I gave ideas. So I did it one way, but then with clues that we had written, and I encouraged parents to say, you can look around your house and write any kind of clues to sort of take your child through a trail in your home. But then I also told the kids, and you don't even need to have, clues. You could just get a notebook, and I showed them a notebook and fancy, magic markers and pens and, pencils. And you could just go around and kind of notice things, use your powers of observation, your superhuman types of intuitive investigative powers. And I talked about, do you need a hat to be an investigator? Do you need glasses? You don't need any of these things, but how fun would it be to kind of dress up? Do you need special attire? No. And so we went through the house, and I decided I was going to be a Jewish detective. So every time I said the word Jewish, I would have the kids go, do, 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 do. So they were kind of involved as we went along. And then I would write it in my notebook. And at the end, we just so happened to find a box of matzah. We did a crazy song about, this Moish who works in a factory, a matzah factory. And then afterwards, I went through the notebook of everything that we had found and said, now you're on your own. Let's see what else you can find after the video stops. So it was hopefully empowering that parents could take the scavenger hunt for a ride and maybe do it for themselves. So that was our goal. A little bit of entertainment and a little bit of afterthought.
Thanks so much, Ellen. And Ellen, if the version I saw, because I saw both of them, I think the live version, you had props and some little costuming that you did, basic stuff that you had in your house, obviously.
Right. And just to show them that you don't need anything special, but you can repurpose things, an old sun hat and, funky glasses and big shoes to make it, more enjoyable.
And I noticed that Ellen had a table that you could just see a teeny tiny bit of it. So I'm guessing that that's where you had your props so that everything was right there. You had prepared, you had practiced the whole bit.
Right. And it was nice because I got some feedback from my colleague. I had put everything on the corner of a ping pong table, and she said, oh, put like a tablecloth on it. It'll look a little nicer. And when I watched it back, it really did. Not that I needed it. And then I was reaching too far for the thing, so I had to kind of keep them a little closer so that when the camera was still rolling, you didn't see a white wall. You still saw me. So it was just a little bit of about 10 minutes worth of practice so that it would come out better than it originally did.
Okay. Thank you very, very much. So I am just glancing here. Anna, just to take note, we had an unwanted visitor along the way. So, yep, okay. So we are very aware that we have there's a little problem in the world right now with these Zoom calls where there are people who are visiting that should not be here. So we are trying to address that in as many ways as possible. One of the things is, as you might recognize, our video sessions have been posted on our website, and that's where the links are. And a lot of congregations are rethinking that. Does it make a lot of sense to post that? No, it probably is better to remove those from the website so that people don't come in uninvited, and that they have to register in some way and get the link through the registration.
Virginia,
Yes, Nama.
I just sent you an email that Zoom sent.
Yes, I saw it.
All right, so that might be a good thing to.
Yes, what we can do is we can post that on our website along with everything that is out there about how to stop the party crashers, the Zoom crashers from joining you. And at JLV, Anna, you want to tell them a little bit about what you went through with us this morning as far as, just some of the generic ideas that you talked about?
Yeah, so we've been thinking a bit about this. I think the majority of you who are in the room right now are hosting meetings, Zoom meetings with folks who are much younger than our typical audience in a Zoom meeting, and so are probably even more hyper aware of this situation right now. We're doing a couple of things. So we're in the process of changing over our settings, which is something you can do on the back end of Zoom when you log in, so that you have to be the host in order to share your screen. That's probably one of the more important things, so that an unwanted chat might come up like it just did, but more importantly, you don't want somebody showing something they shouldn't be showing on the screen, especially if you're dealing with children. I know that many folks are using passwords to protect Zoom calls. We, by and large, are not, again, because we tend to deal only with adults and feel that we can manage the situations as they arise. But I've seen that happening quite a bit. I think primarily if you maintain control as the host and don't allow the collaborative tools, especially the share, that is one of the main issues at the moment. And the other thing I would say is I just took a screenshot just now. I don't know if it will ever be helpful, but I know I wouldn't remember the details of this later on, so I'd want to have a record just in case. So that would be another thing, to just write something down or take a quick screenshot.
Right. And I did that as well. And between the seconds that the person arrived and I put their name down, and I thought, never heard that name before, and then saw the chat and looked for the person to remove them, they were already gone. Mm-hmm. So just, throwing that out there. I didn't even have the opportunity to remove the person from the chat. Okay, so we're going to move on to happier things. So how about, I mean, I can certainly share with you, but a lot of you are already becoming Zoom experts. Some of you might be using Google Hangouts. Some of you might be using Facebook Live. So I'd like to take advantage of the bright people in the room and have some of you share what you've done with your students, and what, if you'd like to share something that you have, your congregation has done, or maybe if you're not a member of the congregation where you teach, the congregation you live in, what you have done. So if you have something to share, could you do me a favor and put something in the chat so that I know that you have done something and would like to share it. So I'm going to just give you a moment to do that, and that way we're not all talking at once. I'm sure there is someone who wants to share. I don't see anybody's fingers typing. Come on. Nobody? Not a single person? Come on. I know somebody has taught with Zoom this week. I mean, I'll give ideas, but no. Okay. Then I'm going to start with my idea. So way back when my son was preparing for his bar mitzvah, his tutoring was done via Skype. And at that point in time, it was very, very unusual. But having two techie parents and having a rabbi who was willing to try, we did not belong to a congregation at the time, but this was a rabbi who we had a very good relationship with. So she was willing to Skype with him, and she said she just wanted to make sure that she had the opportunity to see him once in a while. So like every 4th week or so, we got together in person, okay? But each time he joined the Skype session, I'm gonna hide my video for a moment, he did something like this. So when the rabbi opened up her screen, my son was on the other side greeting her with something. And then the next time, sorry, that took longer than I expected. And then the next time he was this person. And then the next time he was this person. And then another day he might have a musical instrument with him. So each time that he greeted the rabbi, he had a different persona. And that really broke the ice, because all of a sudden it was something fun, engaging. It wasn't just a lesson, okay? So hats. What could you do with hats with your students? Ideas, thoughts? Come on. You can unmute yourself, by the way, if you'd like to share. Sonia, go for it.
Here's my idea.
I guess you can do hiding. When you hide something in your hat.
Give me an example, what you might hide.
Like we can hide an animal inside the hat, and we can ask the kids, while I'm hiding here, who can tell me?
Absolutely.
Give them a little clue about it. What can be?
So they could take their musical instrument and put it in their hat. Whoa, that one wouldn't fit very well, but you get the idea, and they'd have to guess it. Okay, what else could you do? Something has absolutely nothing to do with the content. I'm not going to pronounce your name right. Is it Vered? It says Vered in black. Okay, Vered. Vered,
Yes.
you have, this is the second time you wore, I can't say, your little guys. So tell us why.
Sure. So we've been teaching about Passover, and I thought Passover, spring, and we have lots of songs. Today we actually sang on Zoom Passover and spring in Hebrew. And I thought, and this is from the dollar store. It was $1. It's flowers, springy. So, and sure, you engage the kids. It's sparkly. Sure, get their attention. And my partner actually wore a hat as well. So, and we have very young kids, which I think works the best with young kids.
Wonderful. And you said that your partner wore something too, so you both had
Correct.
Zahava, I'm not sure we're hearing different background noise from you, which is why I keep muting you. So just so you know that. Linda has her hat at the ready. So what would happen if everybody came to a session like this and everybody wore a hat?
That would be wonderful. I think it would be engaging. It would be fun. It would be, you know, the curious children. And like I said before, my children are my class. They're very young kids, and that's what they relate to. Just as if they would watch cartoons. So in a way, we are the entertainers now, and we have to be like the cartoon. So
right.
in order to engage them, to pull them into the story, the song, whatever it is that we do, you know, those props, they sure help.
Yes. Everybody could. This time when you guys come to class, I would like you each to bring your favorite stuffed animal with you.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Or if you don't have a stuffed animal, bring a real one with you. Whatever it would be to engaged by everybody.
I have another idea.
Sure, Sonia.
I think with hats, we can practice what color is the hat. Is big, is small, what the hat represents. Because the kids get very familiar with, let's say, Dr. Seuss, or something about favorite character, Elmo, or something like that. But they always try to figure out what is that about.
And depending upon what your content is, you can bring it into Hebrew. You can bring it into whatever story you are studying, whatever the mitzvah is you're studying, whatever. you can absolutely think of some of those creative things that you could pull in. How about objects around the house? What could you have somebody bring in as far as objects around the house?
You could do an I Spy game, and then have them collect the different objects, or go by shapes or colors, you know, because not everyone will have the same objects necessarily. But if you say, I spy something red, they can bring something, go in a little, you know, semi-treasure hunt and bring it back.
Right. There's no reason they have to be sitting on their bottoms in this chair for the entire time you have them, right?
Another thing, they could put up a drawing to the screen of a self-portrait, and we could guess who it is.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a great idea.
You know, you have your little drawing and everybody holds it up, right? Simple as that.
Without the person's name or something.
I love that idea.
Another thing would be your favorite Passover item.
Right.
Or your favorite Judaica in the house or something like that.
Right.
It's something that I did today. We were doing an activity about baby Moses, and where is baby Moses in the basket. In my house, I don't have babies, so I had to create my own baby, and I decided to put the baby in the basket that is still here. I will show you what I did.
Excellent.
I don't know. I don't think. I still have the water, but I did.
Yeah, the water seems to be blocking your your baby.
But let me see if I can change the background maybe. So here's the baby. Your face. This is my baby. So
Sonia, that's so cute.
Sonia, kol hakavod.
Thanks. So we use it to sing the song about where is baby Moses today.
Baby Moses, Moses.
Right. And we were making the baby Moses move back and forth and singing to the children.
Yes.
Sonia, we did the same thing. I love that. We did the same thing, but we even let them wash baby Moses and give them a bath too.
But
so there's all, take advantage of props, take advantage of the fact that they're in their house. I see behind.
I don't want to embarrass Sonia, but this is the same teacher who sent me a little message a day or two ago and said, I don't have the background for this. I never taught this age group, and I'm not Jewish, and how am I going to teach Passover? And look what she's doing. It's fabulous.
It's so good. Yeah, I'm with you, Eileen.
It's great.
All the time she come ask me question. I said, you know everything, Sonia.
She does. And I told her you would all help her. So
sometimes it's good because Sonia has a fresh set of eyes to the story, right?
That's exactly fabulous.
Thank you. And another idea I was thinking for the parents, so they have more options to do. I create another different way to do baby Moses. I don't know if you can see, you can move the baby pretending that he's in the river. So there is the baby and it's moving. So I try to use with the material that I have at home.
Very
nice, Sonia.
Wonderful.
Very
so
nice.
I see behind Rachel a whole bunch of books. What could you do with books? Now think about something. We tend to think of ourselves as the teacher needs to be in front of the room, right? What could your kids do that they would be the star of the show rather than the teacher being the star of the show? So remember, you have two different views in Zoom in particular that I can switch between speaker and I can switch between gallery. So if I go into speaker view, whoever last spoke is or whoever's currently speaking is the one who comes up on the screen. So think about that. How could you have a student who pops up and takes advantage of having a book with them? What could you do?
Well, I'm sorry, I am trying, but I have a experience today. One of the kids show us a Agada book. He's 2 years old, and he was holding in his hand, and we were asking him, "Oh, you have the book. Can you show us the pictures?" And was with grandma, so they start showing us the pictures. So we were seeing baby Moses, we were seeing the castle, and a version for little kids, which was perfect. So we were asking what we see there.
Wonderful. And sometimes paying attention to whatever they brought with them can reveal all kinds of wonderful things about their day, especially when you're talking about little people. So I'm gonna just check a couple of things. So Lisa, you were talking about telling the Passover story and singing songs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my partner and I, Shoshi, we took turns because we found that, so one of the issues we were having is when we're singing, there's like a delay. So we give out parts, so to speak, like you do this part, I do this part, and we always keep the children muted because when they're all singing together, the screen is constantly changing and there's a delay. So someone is singing and then you hear everyone else like a second and a half later. So we kind of give out different parts to each other. Shoshi thankfully does all the Hebrew, Todah, and you know, so we've been working it out that way.
Today was good.
You do have to get used to the delay.
Yeah, very awkward.
Last time we talked about putting the words on the screen might help because it's a start to keeping people in sync, but it is hard. Any of the music groups that you've seen, you know, there's lots of that out there right now where people are performing in their own homes and then it gets all synced up. I live with musicians and they lay a track that is the metronome.
Yes.
And that's why they all have headphones on, because they have that track going in the background, and that way they are all keeping the same beat. So it looks easy, but it's really not. So that, you know, someone has to be able to do that. Okay.
I want to say something before I forget. I want to say this. I couldn't do this without the help of people that are around me. In this case, we have the opportunity to share with other teachers and co-workers and putting the ideas together and trying to make it work. So that's a thumbs up.
That collaboration makes a big difference, doesn't it, Sonia?
Yes. Thank you, Lauren.
You're doing good.
So who is my Go Owls person? Somebody, they're as Go Owls. Who is that?
Bernice.
That's Bernice.
Bernice.
Yes,
Bernice, hi.
Bernice, tell us a little bit about the minion going on in the next room.
Yeah, it's from AJ, and they always have a 7 o'clock minion. It's with AJ and Beshalom this month. So we've been going to almost every night, I'm saying going. And we find the prayer book is online, and usually it's either one of the clergy or a lay leader leads it, and it's 20 minutes.
And I'm curious, how is the crowd compared to in person?
Much larger.
Interesting. I was, as I walked into the room tonight, my husband said that synagogues are probably thinking people are going to wonder if we need a building, and they're going to start to get concerned about that because of all of these exciting things that a lot of your congregations are thinking about. So a couple of people came in since we started the conversation. I said, I can certainly share ideas, but I also want you to talk about what you have been doing. So that's what I'm encouraging. Okay, I'm scrolling through here to see if anybody else put anything in there. Read a story. And we've talked about reading stories and copyright issues around reading stories, particularly if you are recording something, so be aware of that. So I don't know who Kay is. It says, is there a way to control the speaker view except by who speaks the loudest? So with speaker view, It's the last person who made a noise. So for example, I just paused. When I paused, someone else had background noise in their room. If you were in speaker mode, you would see that person's face flash up. And then when I started talking, my face would come back again. So it's wherever the last sound came from. And sometimes it's a quiet sound. It's not a loud sound. So I just wanted to point that out. I'm looking, we've got a bunch of things. All right, we talked about gallery view and speaker view, which is in the top right corner. Bonnie Gold, tell us what you're doing.
I've been using Zoom every day in public school. I used it with the K-2 group at Beth Shalom, AJ, and I used it at Colomet with the Dalit kids. I love it. The thing that I find is that I have to just have everything loaded and ready to go, because I do that screen share and I go back and forth from me speaking or doing something to like, hey, it's Hatikva. I put on the YouTube video with the Hatikva and the Israeli flag blowing. I come back to me, we do a couple of minutes, and then I put something else on, or I load like, you know, a text so that we're looking at the same thing. We did Cedra scenes and I gave out parts and everybody did it. That was really cool. And on Sunday with the K-2 group, I created I had a storybook. So I took pictures of every page, loaded it on individual slides. I recorded it. And by me, I'm saying my daughter did most of it and I burdened her with it. But I didn't really have to, because when I was doing with Michelle Ravitch, we went from screen to screen. So they heard me reading the story. I kind of told it, but then we stopped. She sang a song that was associated with that part of the book. And then we talked about a food. And then they really stayed with it for, 10, 15 minutes. And that was all that was enough to tell the story, sing the songs, talk about the food. And it's really been great. I think it's just, for me, it's all about the organization. You got to have those things ready to go.
And how old were these children? You can do that. If you're doing all web-based stuff, right? If you have a Google presentation ready, Google Slides, if you have a website you're visiting and you have all of your tabs all lined up ready to go, then you can just go from one to the next. Another way that you might consider doing it, I use a tool called OneNote, and I put everything into that notebook and I just work my way through it. Bonnie, you've been doing it. How are you organizing your lesson in preparation?
I just have it, like it's loaded each tab on Chrome, so that when I go to my share, I hit Chrome, I have it as the first tab, is the first thing I want to do. I X out of that so that when I come back to the tab again, the first tab is what I want next. So I just have it all lined up.
Mm-hmm. Excellent.
So I'll have to look at OneNote.
Okay, I'm just clicking through. It doesn't look anybody else made any comments. Anything else anybody's thinking about, or maybe you have a question, you have an idea of something you're going to talk about. Carrie, make sure you unmute yourself, my dear.
I have an, I don't know, somebody else was, can you hear me?
Wait a second, I was looking for Carrie. Hang on a second. There you go, Carrie.
Something today. Bonnie is like my mentor on this. She's like a rock star. You should have seen her yesterday. I was so blown away. But anyway, I learned today from someone that when I tried to do what Bonnie did, the kids could not hear when I had attached to YouTube and shared it. So you have to click something on the bottom left that says share video or something like that, and the sound works.
I believe under microphone, let me see something.
No, it's optimized sound or something. So when you share, when you see it on the share screen, before you press share, you have to go all the way down. On the left side, you have two things to click, and then you share.
Yeah.
There you
Or else
go.
they can't hear it so well. So that was an important thing I learned today.
I just learned something. Thank you for telling me that because I did not know that. There you go. Woohoo! Thank you, Bonnie. So someone asked if you're able to load and screen share on an iPhone while in Zoom. I don't know about that one. I know in Zoom you can swipe on the phone. I'm not positive. I don't think you can do that. Yeah, I think that would be hard to do, if like to prep everything and then share it from a phone. That would be difficult. Anything else that people are thinking about in terms of how they could engage students?
I have a question. I was trying to do Facebook Live for first time, and I did one time by using the camera on my phone, so I can see myself. But today, when I was trying to do the video again, where I can greet everybody and then try to show when I put baby Moses in the basket, I couldn't turn the camera to show the activity. So there's any way that you can put both things together at the same time, or you always need help for that? I don't know if there is another app or something that you can use for that.
I think the Zoom app, you can flip between forward-facing camera, what they call it, backward and forward-facing cameras in the app itself. So like if you had something out here, you could turn your camera, but the camera's only going to work in one way at a time, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, well, I was trying to do with Facebook Live, I couldn't do it. And with also when you do Facebook Live, it's a very short period of time that you can do the video. But when I did myself without Facebook Live by my own, I couldn't do that. So I will try with Zoom to see how that goes.
Oh, that's right. You were saying Facebook Live. Ellen, if you're still here, did you record your Facebook Live with your phone or with your computer?
With my phone.
With your phone.
Yeah.
And did you just have it propped up and?
Yeah, I had it propped up, and you know, the little button on the right side was just facing it, so it went through. Just hit it and then ran.
Right. When you do a video?
Yeah, it was,
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. Just click the button.
I tried to do that, but the time was very short time. But it was very quick.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it, because that was my biggest worry, is I didn't know enough about it. I just took a shot and it happened.
And yours, and Ellen, yours was what, 10 minutes or something like that?
12 minutes and some seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was long.
Which is a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
To what Ellen's saying. So I've learned a lot through all these things with Virginia. I never Zoomed before a couple weeks ago. I don't know how to do Facebook Live. I don't know how to do the Google. Do you think we could offer that, just like the beginning basic class one day?
I'll show you real quickly how to do Facebook Live. I did do it in one of the sessions.
Well,
hang on just a second. Let me get my little self set up here. Here we are. And hang on just a moment. I'm trying to get to a post so I can do a post. Sometimes there's certain things about Facebook that for the life of me, I still don't get. Hang on a second. Videos. One moment. Nope, that's not what I want. One moment, please. There we go. Okay. So let me share my screen for a moment. And I'm looking in two different places because I have my, I'm going to turn off my video here on this screen, because otherwise my camera will not work, because I will have it on in two different places. Okay, so I am in Facebook, okay? And if we have a private group set up so that we can share things. And I'm gonna click live video. And in live video, it's gonna ask if it can access my camera. And here I am. And now I have to go in here, and right down the bottom right corner, there's a button that says go live. I click go live, 3, 2, 1. Hello, JLV friends. This is me just testing out my Facebook Live tonight in my Zoom session. Hope you all are well. Bye. Now, if they were on Facebook at that moment, they would get a notification that I went live, okay? And they could be watching it, and then I could decide whether or not I want my video to stay on Facebook, okay? So Ellen, at the end of recording your video, did you have to say, keep that on Facebook, or did it just automatically stay?
It just automatically stayed.
Okay, and if you want to, you could click delete video and then it wouldn't stay up there. There's live, and then there's they were live, and now I can watch it later on. And I have noticed with the J-Kid Philly stuff that if we do something, we might have 2 people that are with us at that moment live, and then you look later in the day and 600 people have viewed it. So it really does vary in terms of, you know, even though you're going live doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to have a lot of viewers at the time. The nice thing about if you do have people there, they can make comments as you're doing it live and you can get some feedback.
I have another question.
On my phone, it's also similar. You literally push a button that says go live.
I have another question. Are you going to talk about the Google, the chat room, the Hangout, Google Hangouts?
I'm not going to talk about Google Hangout. I personally find Google Hangout a little bit harder. Is there anybody here who does use Google Hangouts as far as talking us through it a little bit?
So we're not missing anything if we don't know how to use it.
I don't really think so. Some people who really live in a Google world, some school districts use, they have Google for Education, so therefore they use it. Stacy, go ahead. What are you
I can tell you just one thing. My niece and I were working through it probably 90% of the way last night to try to see if we can make an interactive Seder together with the rest of our family. And we went through like almost all the steps. Anyway, the thing I liked the most was that you're not timed. You know, with your Zoom meetings, you're like 40 minutes or something like that for the free one. You're not timed at all on the Google Hangout.
That's a really good point, especially when you want to, for those doing a virtual Seder.
A Seder, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of which, JLV, and I guess it's actually through J-Kid Philly, is doing a session. Is it tomorrow night, Ellen, I think?
Yeah, tomorrow night at 7.
Tomorrow night at 7. There's already, as of this morning, there were 70 people signed up for it. And they're doing a session on building a virtual Seder that is for, you know, of course they're going to focus on young kids, but
the first night or the second, do you know?
Pardon me?
Is it the first or second night?
Well, they're just showing you how to set up a virtual Seder and the different fun things you can do. So I don't know that it focuses on one or the other. So they're going to do that tomorrow night. Okay, so that you have to register for in advance because we can only hold so many people in the room before we run out of virtual space.
So I have a question to ask Virginia. What I am noticing now is that they're getting tired. The kids are getting tired of Zoom, and we're having like an overload of meetings. And my concern is, what is next?
That's a really good question. And in fact, we were talking about this today at one of our JLV meetings of what do we want to offer to those of you who it looks like we're going to be in this ball game at least till the end of April. So what could we do? And honestly, Carrie, I know a lot of your students are in Pennsbury and Council Rock, and Pennsbury and Council Rock just went live this week with online learning. Those kids are going to be wiped out. I myself have been in front of a computer doing Zoom since 8:30 this morning. I took a walk once during the day, cooked dinner and ate it, and I'm back again. I mean, that is what I have been doing.
Yeah, it's
So
Zoom overload.
Yeah, so we do have to start thinking about those next steps. Those of you who joined me for the storytelling or for the, what was the other one we did? Screencasting.
Yeah.
We had an interesting conversation about asynchronous learning or synchronous learning. So what we're doing right now is synchronous. We are all together at the same time. There's so many tools out there that you can use for asynchronous learning. Padlet was one of the examples, VoiceThread, Animoto, where your students do something, but it's not necessarily live or in person. Or maybe they do something before you come together live and in person. Maybe they do something asynchronous for what is typically your Tuesday night class, and then Sunday you come together this way, that's synchronous. So to sort of balance it out as you go. And again, thinking about engaging things, maybe one day a couple of the kids are the presenters instead of the teacher being the presenter. Maybe the student comes up with something and they come and they share their screen and they explain this topic to you, and they, and walk you through something. They have their drawings that they show, whatever it is. And
tomorrow we're doing show and tell.
Tomorrow, there you go, Shoshi. You're doing show and tell, so the kids are the ones getting up there.
Yeah, so the kids has the time to talk about toys. And today, Lisa, my partner, she asked him to bring something for Pesach. So we did the frogs, and everybody showing pictures, spring pictures. So we let him talk. I find out the kids really bored. We can't do everything for them,
That's right.
So tomorrow, actually, I'm really happy we're doing a show and tell with the kids.
Fabulous.
So we're going to let him say something.
Yeah, they're bringing their stuffy.
Yeah. Whatever they want to bring, yeah. And then we're going to do Haggadah and then
or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Virginia, also from our age group, we are trying to do, this idea was great from Bernice, thank you, that we should, mute most of the parents so we can sing our songs. So, but we were thinking, since our age group is 2 years old, and we want also them to interact a little bit so they can show their favorite toy or they can do something, we were planning to do like 20 minutes of music with our age group, talking about Passover and singing songs that they like, and also using the other 10 minutes for them to talk whatever they want. So they can feel free to express and show what they have or whatever they want to comment.
It's a good idea.
That's a great idea.
Good idea.
And 30 minutes is a long time for little people.
For Zoom, yeah, I think so too.
And they're doing great. We have pictures of frogs, of Pharaoh, the wheels on the bus, baby Moses. So they are really there connected with the pictures that we have. And every time that we sing a song, we show a picture, but they are really enjoying it.
So let me share with you a couple of things that I've heard, and I'm curious what you've heard, and maybe from listening to what other people who might be grown-ups are doing, you might think of some ideas of how you could transfer this to your students. So just in my house alone, last week we had a dinner party. We friends who we often go out with. We set up our computer, they set up their computer, and we all sat at our kitchen table and we ate together and we just talked. Nothing formal. We just did what we would normally do in a restaurant. So that was one thing. My kids play virtual games with their friends. My son and all of his college friends have had their freshman year interrupted. They get together, you know, ridiculously late at night because that's what college kids do. And one of them said, let's create a Jeopardy game. Everybody send me questions about the people in this group, and I will create an online Jeopardy game and we'll all play it. Those of you who are familiar with Kahoot, or a lot of these kinds of games, you don't need to all be together at the same time to play Kahoot. You can all be in your living rooms and have it up on your television screen if you want to, and you can be playing Kahoot on your phone, and seeing how everybody else is responding. And you know, you're not even connected, you're just watching the game happen. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that the kids are doing. Last night, my daughter and her friends were going to all get together at 8 o'clock. And one of the kids said, they're college kids, and not even, they're graduates now. One of her friends said, well, you're coming to my cooking class, my cooking show. And they said, what do you mean? She says, well, I'm cooking brownies tonight. So I'm just going to cook brownies while we're talking. And my daughter says, well, what recipe are you using? And then their friend says, well, I want the recipe too. Next thing you know, all 4 or 5 of them were baking brownies. They were all following the same recipe. They were comparing their batter with each other's. They were showing what it looked like when it came out of the oven. Can you just imagine baking challah like that? Or that's going to be a longer process. But, you know, sharing your Passover recipes, that kind of thing, that you could, here's the recipe, everybody gather the ingredients, now meet at this time, and we're going to cook together. So that was another thing that I saw this week as, you know, an engaging way to use a tool like this. All right, I'm reading what someone said. Virtual Seder. Stacy, tell us a little bit about your virtual Seder. You still muted.
Okay. Hi.
There you go.
Yeah, we had a whole layout. Give me 1 second. I got it on my phone of what the program was, but we kept changing. There was a quick, really cute video of a guy with a guitar asking with the 4 questions and then singing them in Hebrew with everybody. And then that was like 2 minutes, and then we went to something else. And we only had 45 minutes or 40 or 45 minutes, but it was really amazing, interesting. I just want to share that other thing when I get into my phone. And it was, you know, and then we broke into rooms. We broke into the break room?
Breakout rooms. We haven't done that. I'll do that before we finish.
Yeah. And we could talk a little more individually. I didn't have to mute anybody. I had like 4 kids and another teacher with me, and it was great. This is a very sad, awkward situation, but really it was a great program. It was very flexible. I just want to find it real quick. I saved it in my picture. I should have it right here so that I'd be able to pull it. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So we did, this is from 5 o'clock until 6. Well, she had for 6 o'clock, but it was welcome, directions, intro to Kahoot, questions 1 to 4, then the Seder plate slide, Kahoot 5 to 7, breakout session about an extra symbol. We asked the kid, what we did in the breakout room, I should have said that, was we asked everybody if you could add an extra symbol to your Seder plate this year to kind of represent what we're going through, or well, we didn't use those words, but to represent the world today, I think we said, what symbol would you have? And one of the kids said medicine, one said toilet paper, one said burrito, one said my brother. I mean, they came up with all these. It was really, really interesting, but let me just go through the rest real quick. Then Kahoot question 8, so just 1, and then we went into Bim Bam, looks like Bim Bam question. The 4 question song. 10 plagues, singing on Kahoot 9, breakout session, Dayenu, find the Afikomen. They put a screen up of all these different Judaic symbols, and they had to find the piece of matzah on there. And we ended with Chad Gad Yah, you know, like a real quick version with it with the video. It was really amazing.
And you had a nice plan.
We had
Right.
it planned out. We all met like twice about it, emailed back and forth, and it was amazing. It was
And
really,
just like Bonnie said, plan.
right, exactly.
Plan,
You have
right?
to. You have to. It's and trial and error because this is all new for us.
So
And,
I'm gonna
great.
I'm gonna share Kahoot just so that somebody can see what it is. Like somebody asked, and it's interesting because they are. Can you? Nope, that's not where I want it. Hang on.
With your phone, because that was the tricky part. Using your phone and then.
Do you see Kahoot on top of my screen right now on your screen? Did I share it right? Hang on a second. Let me try that again. Share, Kahoot, share. Okay. So this is Kahoot, and you can see the little video of people using it. You can use a phone to respond to the questions. You can use a computer with a mouse. You can use just a computer with a touch screen. And basically what happens is you give the kids a code and they log in with the code. Then you see the squares on that kid's screen. You answer the question, they'll come up on the screen. You put your name in or you put your pseudonym in or whatever you're going to use. And it keeps track, and it's a competition. It's a fun competition, and you get points based on how fast you answer the question and if your answer is accurate or not. And you could say, okay, boys and girls, at 7 o'clock on Tuesday night, we are going to play Kahoot. This is where you need to go to the website and put in this code. And when you put in that code, you, the teacher who set up the game, if you know that 30 people are joining you, when you see number 30 come up, you start the game. And all of a sudden, the question will pop up on their screen, and they go, boom. And then on their screen, it'll come up and it'll give them where you are, like where you are on the scoreboard. And then the next question gets submitted. And boom, you find out where you are. And there's lots of yelling and screaming and jumping all over.
Virginia?
Yes.
As far as I understand, to play Kahoot, you need 2 devices, one for the questions and one to answer them.
Right. One for the questions and one to answer them. What do you mean the questions to be displayed?
Yeah.
You're probably right. Yeah, because usually you have to display it.
No, so you display it on your share screen.
So that would be, then you would have to be.
Yeah,
but and then everybody should.
Yeah, but they have to play on their phones or something.
Right, they would play on their phones, but they would look at it on their screen. Thank you, Larissa. I haven't played it for a while. You're absolutely right with that. Yep.
No, I hoped your answer would be no, because
Stacy has it on her phone right now.
You have to put the pin in, and then you give yourself a nickname, and then you're in. So you look at the question or the picture or whatever it is in the multiple choice to pick. Because I did it with Hebrew letters. I did it with Hebrew letters. I did it with vowels. I did it with pictures. It's great. You type in Hebrew, and the Hebrew comes up. And then
What age did you do that for?
Here, I have 4th grade. But I mean, you can do pictures. You can do
I've
anything.
seen it used all the way from little people, because they do it by color. So you pick the right color as your answer. And
there's a shape.
12th graders and adults love it. I've seen it done with 2,000 people at a professional development. And everybody was in a giant conference room. It's a lot of fun. Okay, before we finished, I do want to break you into breakout rooms because not everybody has had that experience. So there are 27 people in the room right now. I am going to take you and put you into 9 different rooms, and it's going to be completely random. If I wanted to, I could do it manually. I recommend doing breakout rooms after you are comfortable, after your participants are comfortable using Zoom, understand that they can use their microphone and all of that kind of stuff. As the teacher, I could, as I say, fly in and out of the rooms and check in and see how things are going if I wanted to, okay? And I'm only gonna leave you there for a couple of minutes just for you to get a feel of it, and then I'm gonna push a button and it's gonna bring you all back again, okay? Bye.
Bye.
Go now. I think you have to push a button that says join the room. So those of you who are still here, there should be a message popping up someplace on your screen inviting you to a room. Ellen, for some reason, you're all by yourself, so I'm going to put you in a different room. And Lauren, you too, I'm going to move you some. There you go. You're there. Ellen, I don't know why yours isn't working. Stay put for a second. I'm going to try moving you into a different room. I don't know why that's happening. I wonder why yours is not going. I've not had that happen before. Okay. I'm going to send a message out to everybody. So Ellen, what I just did is I sent a broadcast message out to everybody, and then a second message went out that said the room is going to close in a minute, and they're clicking that button to return. So some of you returned right away when you saw the message. You clicked
It
return
said,
to
yeah,
room.
it said leave now, so I just.
Yeah, and some of them are waiting and still gabbing in their rooms.
Okay.
So they're coming back. They still have 20 seconds worth of gabbing they can do.
Oh, okay.
We're the people who listen to directions. We're the goody two-shoes.
Hi, Elena.
Hi, Soshi.
How you doing?
Okay. I'm trying to get used to all this technology.
Oh, it's too much. All them in the computer. All
I know. That's all our life is nowadays.
And we usually do nothing with computer.
Hi, Soshi.
Yeah, it's too much.
Hi.
And you
But
know
what happened is a handful of you,
I think
as
it's
soon
too
as
much
you
for
saw
our
the,
you know?
Oh, sorry.
Joshi.
so as some of you, as soon as you saw the button, hit the button and rejoined me.
Right.
Others took advantage of that last 59 seconds and finished their conversation. Actually, the majority of you did that. And then when you got to the end of that minute, it brought you all back into my room. So what you can do if you have a big class and you really want them to get to talk to each other, you can send them out into a breakout room. Just as an FYI, it's not set up for breakout rooms on its own. You might need to go into the advanced settings and turn on breakout rooms.
That was my next question.
Yep.
I wanted to say thank you, but I need to go. So
Okay, I'm going to hang up
thank
too.
you.
But
Thank
if you do, when you log in as yourself, if you do not see breakout rooms at the bottom, you just need to go into your advanced settings and activate breakout rooms. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, Virginia.
Bye, everybody. I will not see you next week, but look for more stuff after Pesach. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Hi, guys. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Hi, Lisa. Good to see everybody. Hey, Kay.
Hi, Stace. Hi, Stace.
Thanks, Larissa.
Bye, Randy. How you doing?
Bye, Sophie.
See everybody.
Bye, Lisa.